Kirry.
This is JJ and Alex.
I made a name for myself. I told you I won't be denied.
As you wrap up your day, it's time to get your fix of the teams you live for and the sports you love. This is JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All right, everybody, welcome on in. Thanks for being with us on JJ and Alex, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Will you please be careful while you're outside? Friendly reminder that we can be total idiots, JJ, when we get that first snowfall and we have to have that 1 day of adjustment of like, oh, yeah, let me get my snowshoes back in. Let me get my snow tires back in my head. You got to relearn how to drive in the snow. Stay safe out there, everybody.
First snowfall on February 18th.
Significant.
Hey,
snowfall,
winter.
Yes.
Nice of you to show up.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, guess what? Hold on. Did you just raise your voice at me, by the way?
No.
Did you just raise your voice?
No.
No, dude. Alex Napolis is right here.
Wow.
Alex Napolis is
I didn't
right
raise
here.
my voice.
He said it. Alex Napolis is right here. We have cameras on it. Dude, what are you doing? You're embarrassing yourself by raising your voice to me. That, of course, was a reenactment of the most hilarious story of the day, which we'll get to a little bit later. Mick Cronin, UCLA's head coach. All you need to know is they've gotten their butts kicked the last couple games, and that causes people to do stupid things. And it certainly had UCLA's head coach doing stupid things. But in the meantime, we've got lots to kick off on the program. Everything good, JJ? You made it in okay. I made it in okay.
I survived, yeah.
Annapolis watched like 5 accidents happen on the way in. Didn't even stop for one of them. Right? Isn't that what we heard? Yeah.
Gotta be here.
Priorities.
The breaking news alert from KSL that I got was 5 wrecks. 1 car just speeds right past all of them on his way to the broadcast house. Boom.
Single
Sorry,
mothers
producer.
and their kids
You could have helped
struggling on the side of the road.
You could have helped somebody today. You didn't do it. You chose not to. I mean, I know I
Annapolis
would
had
have
to get
stopped.
to work. He couldn't be bothered.
I know I would have stopped. I just think it was weird. I was telling him there was a moment one of these years that some guy flipped around on, like he did the full spin, and he was up against the barrier. And we're all driving, and he's just staring. I'm looking right at him, and he's facing me because it was facing the wrong way. And I'm like, I was like,
you guys
nod.
made eye contact?
I think it was head nod. Yeah. It's like making eye contact in the bathroom. You're like, no, I shouldn't have looked.
No, don't do that.
No, I'm not trying to talk to you. No, absolutely not. All right, let's kick off the program. We've got lots going on. Calling all Patriots, too. Team USA up 1-0 right now against Sweden. Keep your fingers crossed for the Stars and Stripes, man.
Sweden on the power play right now.
Yeah, we might need all those well wishes. As much
7
as possible.
seconds away from killing it.
And by the way, up 1-0. You need more goals for sure. Team Canada going to overtime today against the 8 seed.
How about Czechia?
Czechia showed up, man, and I'm telling you, this is scary as heck. This game is scary. All these teams are good in these tournaments, so the semis are not going to be a gift. It's not guaranteed that Canada and USA are going to face one another in the gold medal game, but we're certainly hoping for it. All right, let's kick off the program as we always do. We call it The Cut. It's the very top of the program. Let's do it.
It's time for the biggest story of the day. This is what made the cut with JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All right, as we watch the Americans trying to hold on to this lead, you don't want to play to just not lose. I don't know how many times we've seen that happen, at least with this team across the street sometimes, where it's like, yeah, I got a nice lead. Oh, my goodness, it's gone now. So hopefully they keep their foot on the gas here. They're out shooting them like crazy. So
Yeah, 31-22, and it was actually
31-18 when you walked in. Yeah,
the power play changed that stat.
Sure. All right, so we're going to get back into NBA basketball coming up. When's our first game back?
Friday.
It's this Friday. We gave away those tickets for a Jazz Ticket Tuesday, so I was just wondering if that was first game back. It's not. They're going to come back on Friday. And we're already getting back into it. And if you think that the Jazz were being silly by sitting Lauri Markkanen and by sitting not just Lauri, but of course Jaren Jackson Jr., and then on top of that to have the fine that came with it, Indiana getting hit with another fine as well. I mean, I've never seen a record-breaking amount of players that the teams have just shut down for the rest of the year, right? A massive amount of players that have been shut down for the year.
Two big ones a day, right?
And the teams are just saying, hey, man, That's it. Yes. So Kirry, who wasn't back yet with his ACL, they just said, you know what? We're not going to accelerate the return.
Remember all the talk in the offseason?
Get you back.
Let's get Kirry back because it's going to be Kirry, AD, and Cooper Flagg, and the Mavericks are going to win a championship.
Oh, and when they gel, finally, when they gel, it's going to be a good team. Now they've already just shut him down the rest of the way and said, yeah, you know what? He's still rehabbing. We don't feel comfortable with it. You can say whatever you want, basically, on some of these injuries. Domantas Sabonis is out for the rest of the year. Mm-hmm. The Kings are legendary at tanking, as we know. And by the way, all these different general managers they're having to pull off something that's totally wild, which is trying to create a roster that will win you a world championship. And obviously, it's a tough thing to do. Obviously, in smaller markets like ours, you have very limited options because you can't do what everybody else can do. You're not a destination, right? You don't want to be. They're not going to request trades and say I want to be in Utah, and so that's part of the thing. I just thought it was funny because today they came out with NBA front office rankings on CBS Sports, and I think it's interesting that what's his name with the Lakers? Kupchak, right?
Kupchak. It's been a few years.
Yeah. No, but
the guy that looks like Rob Lowe.
Rob Lowe. It's exactly Rob Lowe. No, but all these front offices, going through and grading these front offices, the people who get, it's crazy to me because the people who get the highest kudos, it's not just about winning right now. It's that they built something 5 years ago and they're being rewarded for it now. And to get there 4 or 5 years ago started with, guess what? What we're seeing right now with all these smaller teams. And so now we're reading an article about how I'm looking at this article today about how all these teams are the top front offices. And you know what it is that they do? They take their lumps and years that they're trying to rebuild, and a rebuild means tanking in the NBA, whatever you want to call it.
I'm going through right now.
I mean, look at this list.
And I can't find a team here that hasn't tanked for something.
I know.
That made significant difference in their franchise.
Who's number one?
The Thunder.
Sam Presti, congratulations. And guess who's bickering the most about, I can't believe Utah's doing this. Stop it, dude. And some of his was a little bit of, I won't call it dumb luck, like he didn't do it. But there are some, they landed guys.
The Paul George trade landing them Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. Nobody saw that coming.
And they would have, most people look at that and go, that's tough. I don't know. And it turned out to be one of the best decisions ever. And so guess what? That great decision goes on Sam Presti as he's building this whole thing up. The Boston Celtics at 2. We've seen them either being in contention or blowing it up and going the other direction.
They went like 1 or 2 years at the bottom, and boom, they drafted right. It was while Danny was still there.
Yep.
With Jason Tatum, and then they continued that process, and it landed them. It got them a championship.
And I think, these front offices.
Jaylen Brown the next year, I believe.
Yeah, and the front offices, by the way, are being graded basically on all these things that we've been talking about and teams are getting fined for. Mm-hmm. Getting creative on how to make sure that you're competitive. Steph Curry said something interesting when he was asked about, did you see his quote about the tanking thing? Somebody brought it up and was like, what do you think about all these players sitting in? He goes, is it really that big of an issue? Like, this league is super competitive.
Yeah.
And I thought, that's an interesting way to look at it. One of the superstars of the league goes, by the way, none of these games are gimmies.
Yeah.
If you are not totally put together, you will lose in this league. And of course the Jazz don't want to win a ton of games. They do not want to hand the Thunder, and that's why Presti's all pissed, right? And I just think that it was interesting that one of the guys who is supposed to be a steward of the game, right? All these basketball players get done with their career, and it's like, you better build basketball up. And this is a guy who's in the middle of it and goes, these are competitive. Every team can be competitive in this league, some more than others, and it obviously changes from year to year. And when your luck changes, if you can make it to where it's not just luck, then that's what we're talking about. And so I just thought it was interesting that the player, to hear him say that, I was pretty blown away by it. And on this very list, the San Antonio Spurs are 4. Okay, do the math on where they got everybody.
Don't skip the Rockets.
Oh, the Rockets are at 3.
They traded James Harden, and they went in a long tank of 3 or 4 years.
Now
they're digging out of it.
The Cavaliers. You could argue they were not necessarily tanking, but they made some big trades, obviously.
How many number 1 overall picks did they earn?
Yeah.
They tanked several years.
So
the year they got Kyrie was a tank. Obviously, getting LeBron everybody wanted LeBron, and they went all in on getting him because he was from Ohio.
The Indiana Pacers are at 6. And they're doing it right now.
They're doing it right now.
They're in it right now. The New York Knicks, okay? And if they do anything near tanking, they obviously, like, it's brought up a lot. But it's also okay in those bigger markets because people look at it. You should have seen the positive reaction to Kyrie Irving being done for the rest of the year. It was like, oh yeah, man. Oh, you don't want to be too careful. Wink. And they're all Mav fans who are like, absolutely, please shut it down, man. The fans have realized that the equation changes with the way that the NBA is set up. And then number 8 is the Utah Jazz. The very team, and the Sixers are right behind them. Speaking of Hall of Fame of tanking.
Oh, yeah.
The Jazz are they're brand new at this. You know what I mean? Like
they don't have the tanking history that all these other top 10 teams, the teams with the top 10 front offices in the league, have all tanked.
Yeah. So
all of them.
These general managers are asked to put together rosters. How do you do it? Within the reason and within the rules that they have been given. And there's a reason that they are tops, that these teams are all tops in the ranking of front offices. It's not, do they have clean facilities and do they bring nice snacks to the game and is their personal chef at the practice facility a nice guy? That's not this. This is how well do these guys, and really, what type of a background do you have of making it happen, moving all the chess pieces to be able to get yourself a team? These guys inside the rules are making it happen. So in the same breath that you're congratulating these front offices for building, you're also fining them for following the rules that you put out there, Adam Silver in the league, and David Stern before him. This is what we've been living. The reality that these guys have, they are dang smart. And guess what? If they would be extremely dumb if they didn't try to do the same exact thing that everybody else was doing. And I know that's not an excuse, but I just don't. And I'm not mad about the fine. I don't care about the fine because I think that was just a PR piece. You know what I mean? The reality is that all these teams that they mentioned right here are using the same strategy because that's what they're available to them. And so ranking them as the number 8 team, or the number 8 front office in the entire league, there's a reason. The Angels have, a history, and they can get it done. And Danny knows how to play the game.
Well, that's why it was so maddening when the league picked on the Jazz and fined them. And if I'm an Indiana Pacers fan, I'm furious too. Like, what? Why are you fining us?
Yeah.
What are we doing that the Kings aren't doing? Well, I can't speak for what the Pacers were doing that was different, but we know what the Jazz were doing that was different, and it ticked off the gamblers.
Yeah, right, 100%.
It ticked off the gambling companies, which in turn got the ire of the league because they're in bed with each other. So the Jazz were picked on for that reason because they got even more creative with tanking than anybody else had thought of. Well, instead of, just sitting out your players and saying they're injured, why don't you have them go out there and play for 3 quarters and give the fans what they pay for and then pull them out in the end? When it's actually, you can argue it's for the best of the Jazz franchise.
Right.
Because you're getting your young players to develop. And even in that game that they played and won in Miami, Bryce Sensabaugh was great. They won the game because their younger guys were good enough and went out there and earned it. That should be applauded, not punished.
100%. It took us so long to finally relinquish and say, okay, I'm on board with the losing. You know what I mean? Like, it was a hard couple of years because we're just not used to it. And when
we're into year 4.
And when we finally come around and we're like, all right, I see what you're doing here. It's just like, I know it's coming into focus. I get it. And it's not fun. It certainly isn't fun. And it's certainly not fun for the fans on nights when you see guys sit and they're not playing, or the injuries are stacking up and so many players are out on so many different games. I get it.
The Jazz haven't been fun since they blew that 2-0 series lead against the Clippers in the playoffs in 2022. The last year Donovan Rudy was, you remember how hard that was?
Yeah.
That wasn't fun.
No, it wasn't.
Because you knew something was off.
Yeah, all the back door, behind the back.
Blowing the fourth quarter leads.
Oh, my gosh.
That team was miserable. They made the playoffs, and you knew they had no chance to win that series. They got Jalen Brunson paid. Remember that?
Oh, that's exactly right. Yeah, the Bunsen burner fired it up during that series, man.
It's not just the losing of the last, now 4th season. It was the last year of the Donovan and Rudy era. And this is a proud fan base, and this is a proud franchise. that expects to win and wants to win and loves hard play and values the right things. Tanking goes against everything that this franchise was about and this fan base was about. But everybody understands that's the only way to win in this league. And if you're questioning that, that's why this list is important to look at. Alex, we went through it. Top 10. All these teams in this top 10 list that have these great front offices, guess what they did to get there? They all had to push that trigger, that button. They had to push the eject button. They had to go all in on tanking to get the players that they needed to be able to compete at the highest level. It's not just a small market thing anymore. It's not just like, oh, the Jazz have no other way to build a franchise because they're a small market. This is the NBA way. Free agency is not what it used to be. There are not players that are available in free agency. They're signing those big long-term deals, and then they're trying to ask for a trade when they want to leave. Nobody's passing up on that money. When's the last time there was like this, oh my gosh, free agent moment? When was that?
Yeah. No,
Those days are over.
It's been a lot, yeah, you won't see it either.
So I don't care if you're New York or Miami or LA. You're not. I mean, even the Lakers had to go do some shady deal with the Mavs to get Luka Doncic. That wasn't a free agent trade deal. They had to pull off a crazy wild trade. Like nobody's doing the free agency thing anymore. You either find a way to make a big trade or you tank. And guess what the Jazz just did? They tanked for almost 4 years and they pulled off the big trade. Now they're ready. Yeah. This is how NBA teams are built to win. It takes time, and that's unfortunately the process. So why are we grinding our teeth and all of a sudden and flipping out because somebody tanked or somebody found a new interesting way to tank, and people want to make an example of it and complain about it? I guarantee you if it was the Lakers or if it was somebody else that was tanking, there wouldn't be any talk about it at all. It was easy to pick on the Jazz, and there was a specific reason why they were picking on the Jazz.
I looked more on this list, and you know what I actually came up with? Short of, and by the way, some of the worst here are the worst, quote-unquote, front offices. Ready? Kings, Pelicans, that's 30 and 29. Bulls, 28. Mavs, 27. And it's only because they fired Nico because like that probably got him a couple spots up, in this deal. So, yeah. The Mavericks are 27. The Suns. As I went through the list, I actually went, oh, maybe two teams in the last 10 years haven't been doing the tank? Or haven't had to do it.
The Suns haven't tanked.
Well, the Suns haven't tanked. The Warriors haven't tanked.
Nope.
Right? And so
the Bulls never tanked.
Right. But guess what?
Always mid.
How many of these franchises, though, that you look at and you go, oh, actually, the vast majority of them, good front offices and bad, have all had to participate in this at some level. And so I don't get why one is more egregious than the other. Oh, there's the word again. Dang it. Is that egregious?
It's egregious.
I'll pay you for it. I told you I'd never say it again.
The game is at stake.
Yeah. So but to me, that's what I saw too. As I looked through the list and I went, oh yeah, all these teams have basically done it. And guess what? The Warriors. I mean, when I was growing up, JJ, remember the '90s Warriors teams?
They were the worst. They were probably at bottom 3 franchise in the league for 20 years.
I mean, you think of I think of Tim Hardaway and.
After Run TMC, and then I think Chris Webber was there for a period of time.
Yeah.
The Latrell Sprewell Warriors weren't great.
Yeah. The tail end of Chris Mullins, time. And a lot of Chris Mullins' time, actually. They were the worst. And what made him the worst? The same type of things. Like they just were never competitive. They were never in it. They were never competitive. The Clippers were always there too. The Mavericks, when I was a kid growing up, same way. Never great players.
The Magic have been irrelevant since Shaq left.
Yeah. And by the way, bad news for them. Franz Wagner out for the rest of the year. And, no, it's out indefinitely. Sorry. But, do the math on that. That's a team that's competing, and that's a bummer.
Yeah.
So, obviously, that's the kind of stuff that you can't help, and it's the worst. But I just wonder how much we are – the talk of the tank is as annoying as the tank itself. You know what I mean?
It's become that way.
I am not a fan of having to always be because it's like you're defending it, and yet at the same time, it just doesn't feel like it doesn't. It's against all the things that sport stand for, and they did it to themselves. They made the rules, and it's not what we want. Nobody ever wants this. Is there a version of tanking in the EPL? Absolutely not. You tank, you're gone. But guess what?
Get relegated.
But that system, you can't rip the Band-Aid off. You can't unring the bell of the draft that we have in the NBA. There's no version of it. I've seen the wheel. I've seen the suggestions of the owners getting together and having basically somehow compete for these spots. Nothing works.
Or just free agency.
And just free agency, which would be an absolute nightmare because you would blow up the league because you would have about 10 teams who just immediately would not be a part of it. They couldn't be a part of it. And I think this one across the street would be one of them. The Jazz, I think, would be in that same category. So I get it. I'm not trying to bring up that you should do the relegation model because you're too far down that road. Yeah. You can't redo it. You can't pretend and say, yeah, it's going to happen. It's just never going to happen like that. So for me, I saw this list today and I thought the number 8 team and the number 8 front office, and yet they're getting dinged just by playing by the rules because they had to be made an example of for everybody else. And now today, it's like every franchise that is even close to any of this is making their move to sit their best players, stop making the effort, and it's a bummer. It's a real bummer. That's just the way that the sport is. The Jazz come back home, or the Jazz fire it back up again, and I'm really wondering what the next – how many games are left? What's their record? I think they played 50 – no.
There's 26 games left.
Okay, so they've played in the 50s, right? So
yep.
26 games left. What do those 26 games – what's a guess on a record for the Utah Jazz?
6-20.
Is that good enough? Or bad enough, rather?
Will they keep the pick at 6-20? It's going to be close. Of course, it all depends on the lottery. Now, you can have the 6th worst record in the league, and if you drop 4 spots, you're toast. You drop 3 spots, you're toast. So they don't control that. So to feel really comfortable, you'd want to have a bottom 4 record. A bottom 4 record you would avoid that. You guarantee a top 8 with a bottom 4. I don't think they can get there. I just don't. The competition, this is a weird conversation to have, but the competition for the worst record in the NBA is fierce. It really is.
And you know what?
The Kings are 12-44.
And they might win 2 more games.
The Jazz are 6 games behind the Kings for worst record in the league. The Wizards.
They're behind.
Are 14-39. Now, it's not as bad as the Kings, and the Jazz are only 2.5 back of the Wizards. Could the Jazz make up 2.5 games? Because that's what they'd have to do.
Yeah.
The Pacers are the 4th worst record in the league right now at 15-40. They are 26.5 games out of first place in the league. That's pretty crazy.
But I mean, how many of these franchises that we listed off have actually been bad for the majority of our lives? As we've watched basketball.
Kings, Wizards, Pelicans. The Nets kind of feel that way.
The Hornets.
The Hornets have finally starting to get better. The Hornets are kind of climbing up the standings. They're ahead of the Hawks right now.
So the Bucks were kind of in that category till they
pre-Giannis, yes.
Yeah.
They were always mid.
So I mean, I grew up just knowing what teams.
The Grizzlies have had a bad history.
You know, when you'd watch the lottery growing up and they'd open the envelopes and stuff and you do that whole thing, and it was always the same teams. It was always the same ones. You were just used to seeing.
When we were growing up, the Clippers were always in the lottery.
You'd see the Clippers logo. You'd see the Cavaliers logo. You'd see the Hornets logo. You know, the Bullets.
Yeah.
You'd see the old Washington D.C. the Washington Bullets.
The New Jersey Nets.
100% the New Jersey Nets. Doesn't that sound funny? That's even. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Anyway, I'm over everybody having to explain what this franchise is doing because I finally got used to the idea that this is the way that they're doing it because they have to do it this way. And actually, Utah needs it more than anybody, just as much or more than most. Utah needs this model to work for them, and
they got to stay top 8 so they don't convey. So they're in an unusual circumstance here where they really have to manufacture where they land here. The other teams win, lose, whatever. I mean, it's not going to kill the Mavericks and the Grizzlies right now to win a couple more games because they just want to be in the lottery at this point.
What did we say? What was the T-shirt we're going to make? Tank to convey? Or no. It was something about not conveying the pick. Gosh, we got to write this stuff down. It was something about convey because nobody uses that term except for with this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the only thing that we use it for. Hot NBA lottery talk.
Don't convey. You can't give up this pick in this draft.
Well, I'm just bummed about the whole thing because it's not fun to watch, and that's the bottom line.
Well, I hate as a sport, just as a fan of sports, to have to be. This is why the league has this problem, and it's among a group of other problems that the league needs to address. But this is not what sports are about, and it seems to be the only professional sport where this is even a thing. Why, and how do you solve it? Maybe it's not solvable. Maybe it's the uniqueness of the sport where one player makes so much difference. I mean, the NFL, you have to have a franchise quarterback, but is anybody tanking for a franchise quarterback? When does that ever happen? I'm sure it has, but it's not like there's 10 teams doing it, right?
Yeah.
That's just not a thing in the NFL.
Sure. Yeah.
Major League Baseball and the NHL, they draft guys they don't play for 4 years.
Yes, and that's the thing that
helps.
That's the system for them that actually works because
maybe the NBA needed to go to that kind of system, but the problem is you have kids that you can tell at 18, 19 years old they're going to be future NBA stars.
You're rewarded in the NHL and the Major League Baseball for your development programs. Mm-hmm. Like when you go through, here's why the Yankees have always been good. They have the best scouting department. They have the best, most resources to be able to develop the best players that are super young. And you think about it from the NHL perspective, you know how it works. You have these names in the hopper, and when you come around again and go, oh, yeah, is T.J. Ginla, like, he's going to be okay now, right? When do we start seeing him on the ice?
That's where the Mammoth are at right now.
Right.
That's why so many people that know the league are so high on the Mammoth's future because they know what they have coming up the pipe.
And you got your Maverick Lamoureux that you're looking at, and you're going, yeah, they're young. I mean, Daniil Boot got himself a lot of ice time in this part of the season. He impressed.
Mm-hmm.
Sweden scored.
Oh boy,
no good.
Oh,
what am I spoiling it for you or something?
Oh my gosh.
Well, oh, you're behind. Is that what you're saying?
Team USA is in a lot of trouble here.
I was wondering when it was going to happen.
Because the dam finally broke. Ever since that power play, Sweden has been on the attack.
Yeah, it's been tough. Is Hellebuck in the? Yeah, Connor Hellebuck's in the goal. All right,
that wasn't his fault.
No. All right, let's take a break. We'll come back. I've got to get pissed at Team USA during the break here, so let's take that break. We'll come back. We got more to talk about when we return. Right around the corner, I've got something for you. It is a conversation about the 2014 playoff, and this is an argument against it. These are all the things that could go absolutely wrong and that you'd miss about college football if you go to a 2014 playoff. Stay with us, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Accessing.
When TV and radio collide.
Love it.
Wow. This is what you get. You're listening to JJ and Alex.
Don't touch that dial.
On 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
This song is really hilarious because it reminds me of one person, and it's my high school football coach. He would put this on a record player in his office and blast it through the thing. It was like how he got practice started up. Now, you might think to yourself, what an awesome coach. It was that and you put the lime in the coconut.
What's his obsession with?
I don't know. Beach songs and drinking songs and then playing it for a bunch of high school kids? Come on, Coach Mack.
Strange.
Expect more out of you. Yeah, so anytime I hear that song, I love it because it reminds me of Coach Mack. Good times. Sweden and USA in overtime. Now, the format in the overtime is awesome. 3-on-3.
It's just like the NHL overtime.
Yeah, fewer defenders, and it opens up the ice, and it opens the possibility for scoring. But you can still go into, of course, the shootout, which nobody wants to see.
This is nerve-wracking.
We're
8 minutes away from a shootout.
I know. And Connor Hellebuck, you like him in the goal, but, shootouts provide weird things, Anyway, this is Canada went to overtime today. Team USA in overtime with Sweden. That's the number 2 and number 7. I mean, the number 7 and the number 8 seeds took the highest seeds to overtime. And every shot on goal just going straight into the goalie's glove.
Yep.
So there you go. All right, here's what we got going on. This portion of the show brought to you by University of Utah Health. University of Utah Health, hope is in our DNA. More at uofuhealth.org. You can find it right there. Or, just uofuhealth.org. University of Utah Health for you, for life. All right, 2014 playoff. I'm a huge advocate. I like it. However, Some people do not like it. The Big Ten likes it. The SEC does not like it. You can make your arguments as to why. The biggest argument that this columnist makes, and I think it's a fine point. I think it's fine. Blake Toppmeyer put this together for USA Today, and I thought, that's pretty interesting because I can almost be convinced that the 2014 playoff shouldn't work, or we can't do it because the Big Ten wants the plan. They want as many teams in there, and this guy's argument is you're selling your soul for more revenue, but you're diluting the regular season. So point number one.
How so?
Diluting the regular season because you actually can lose 3 or 4 games and get into the playoff. And that's tough. When teams go, look, we're in the SEC, all we need to do is we can lose 3 games, we'll be fine. And so there's more room for error because the committee is going to give you a nod. And even if the 2014 playoff goes, then you have these 4 automatic qualifiers. Or no, what was it that they wanted? It was like 5, 4, 4, and 4 for the.
I believe so. Yeah.
5 for the Big Ten and the SEC, 4 for the ACC and the Big 12, and then after that it was like and 2 FCS or not FCS, FBS group of 6 teams. And then at-large stuff, all that, right? And I get it. I don't want to see the regular season not mean anything. Now, part of the diluting of this one is also you would have to get rid of – you wouldn't have to. Leagues would do it immediately because it does not benefit you to have it at all, the conference championship games. And that's a bummer because you don't – crowning a conference champion is great. And you want to reward teams for being aggressive – or for Indiana got rewarded last year for not going to the Big Ten championship, right?
2 years ago.
Or 2 years ago. So that happens. That happens, and that's a big deal. That's one of those. It's you look and you say, "Oh my goodness." I'm not going to spoil it for Alex Napolis. Okay. Bottom line is the Big Ten wants it, and I don't know why they would want it over the SEC, and the SEC wouldn't. Does the SEC really think that they're diluting it? I mean, that it's getting diluted. The other one is, it's not just the money part of it. The revenue, of course, is going to be huge in the playoffs, and having a lot of these guys going in and saying, "Hey, I want to actually be in this playoff. We want to win 12 games and only lose 1 during the regular season, and then you don't even go to a conference championship game." Reward those teams for being awesome, for being really good during the regular season. But in the 12-team playoff, we've had dogs of games both years. We've had dogs of games and teams that we felt like didn't, quote unquote, belong there, right? And so if you think that number's high, I get it. You're going to see a lot more of those. And that's a bummer. So I get the argument for the 2014 playoff. The 16-team playoff, much less of that. But I don't know if you can overcome the SEC's veto always in this. They're just always going to veto it. And maybe they get to the 16-team playoff, but I just don't think it's going to happen. It will compromise a lot of different things that college football is really still good at. The conference championship games, I think, are huge. We need to eliminate stupid bowl games. The 2014 playoff could actually help that. But I don't think we're going to get there because the biggest conference or one of the biggest conferences is always going to say no. And Greg Sankey, he's powerful. It's all the SEC and the Big Ten.
Well, I mean, eight SEC teams should be in every year.
And then not make it to the national championship. Well, yeah, fine. Perfect.
Well, yeah.
Get rid of conference championship games.
I feel like, if you're – so I prefer the 16 model first. Let's go 16, see how it goes. I'm on record saying that. But you've slowly brought me around a little bit more on this 2014 model because it's going to get there eventually. Just look what FCS football has gone through. And I think the FCS postseason is elite. I think it's more fascinating, interesting, and entertaining. It doesn't have the same level of football, and that's the big difference.
Hey, guess who runs it? The NCAA. Right? And then the tournament, the NCAA tournament. The irony of all this is the NCAA has the best tournament.
The NCAA does those things well. They don't do rules enforcement well.
No.
And some overreach there. So the championship thing, Why are we having conference championship games right now anyway? How meaningful are they really? Because let me make this point. There's 18 teams in the Big Ten. You can only play half the teams in your conference. How are you a conference champion if you only play half the teams in your conference? I don't care who you meet in the championship game. You've only seen half the teams. So why even have a conference championship game? It's meaningless.
Yeah, but what
these
about being able to?
Conferences are just so huge now.
What about being able to carve it in the trophy that they've had for 117 years?
Well, if we care about the trophy and the tradition, then I guess we need to protect bowl games.
Oh.
You know what I mean? Like, we got to move forward. And I know they make a lot of money off the conference championship games. Maybe they don't. I don't know. I think that the Big 12 benefited this year from attendance and all those things going on because BYU and Texas Tech showed up. What happened the year previous? Did those fans show up? Did Arizona State fans pack the building? Not exactly. A pretty forgettable Big 12 championship 2 years ago. And this year's game wasn't good. So what are we doing in these championship games? Why are we doing them? If you're not even really crowning a champion of a conference, because that's not even possible, because you haven't played every team in your conference. It needs to be decided on the field. So my point is, eliminate the conference championship games. If it makes for a better postseason, get rid of them. We don't need them. Who cares?
Well, the reason to get rid of them also is because that week needs to be used for the first week of the playoffs.
Good. Great. We're going to watch that, right?
And so those games are going to be good.
Would you rather watch a first-round playoff game or a conference championship game? Duke versus who did they beat? Virginia. Would you rather watch Duke, Virginia play for a meaningless ACC title game, which turned out to be completely meaningless because it wasn't even an auto bid this year? What was the point of that? Congratulations, Duke.
Just for Duke to screw up everybody's bracket.
But you didn't get in the playoffs.
Okay, here's an argument. If you're Texas Tech, they would have hosted a second-round playoff game at their place. What kind of a difference would that make instead of going to the
Massive.
Fiesta Bowl, wherever they lost to? Who did they lose to? Miami? No,
Oregon.
Oregon, sorry.
Yeah.
So Oregon, and Dan Lanning even brought it up because I actually think that Texas Tech earned a spot to host another game. And if we could have more of these, what do they call them? The campus-hosted games, these playoff games.
Love them.
Because you go immediately into it. And by the way, you can still end the season by January 1st. And that's when the transfer portal opens, and there you go.
I would rather watch a campus-hosted first-round playoff game than a conference championship game. I would rather watch a home campus-hosted second-round playoff game than a dumb bowl game. Right?
What bowls do you guys go to? The dumb bowl.
Who disagrees?
Yeah, I know. The games that mean a lot. The SEC championship means a lot to those guys, but
does a conference championship game have more meaning than a first-round playoff game? Absolutely not.
I don't know. You read off some of those seedings, and there were some pretty bad games in the first round, like the 18 seed versus like the 11 seed. You're like, I don't really like that game. That's fine. And they're playing it in Lubbock.
Did you like Duke versus Virginia in the ACC championship?
But that was a.
How much fun was Texas Tech BYU?
Ooh.
Sorry, it's just a fact. Didn't need to see the sequel. I already saw the original. Wasn't good.
Who got there? Was it who was in the SEC championship game? I even forgot. Was it Alabama and?
Yeah.
And Alabama absolutely got destroyed. Right? Is that when they ran for 3 yards? Yeah. Well, good for them.
They still made the playoff.
And they still made the playoff.
And they won a playoff game. Give them credit.
All right.
Against another SEC team that probably shouldn't have been there.
Okay. I'm just all for whatever I will be most excited for. And we don't actually know until they, I think, play it out. You know what I mean? I don't know what the most exciting
Whenever
thing
the
is.
stakes are higher, I'm more invested. And the stakes are higher when it's a playoff game instead of all this other stuff.
Yeah.
So if that's what you have to do to get to the 24, I'm all for it.
Okay. All right, we'll take a break. Well,
wait.
Hey, we figured it all out.
We have some breaking news.
But
We need to play the breaking news sounder. And the national anthem. Can we do that at the same time?
No, it's fine.
We can all take a deep breath.
From the breaking news Olympic, you might get this spoiled, so don't ruin anybody's fun. But go ahead, JJ.
Well, it's not like it's not like the game was on at 3 a.m. and you're waiting to watch it in prime time.
That's true.
The U.S. hockey team has advanced in the hockey Olympic tournament. They beat Sweden 2-1 in overtime. Quinn Hughes scores a goal, assisted from Matt Boldy and Austin Matthews, 3:27 into overtime. 2-1. United States beats Sweden. They move on to the semifinals.
Hey,
That's
this
my
is an
anthem right there.
This is an anthem.
Yeah! USA! 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 USA!
An OT winner for Team USA. Oh, man, it was nerve-wracking. We're going to go out on this music. That's why I love it so much. We're taking a break. We'll come back.
Can we put an eagle playing the guitar
before we
on
do.
the YouTube?
Scotty G and Friends is going to be Friday at Kenny G's Barbecue, of course, or Kenny J's Barbecue, not Kenny G's. That would be
Kenny G's.
The dulcet sounds of the soprano saxophone.
New
Absolutely
restaurant?
not. Come get some ribs and some really sexy saxophone music. No, Kenny J's Barbecue, 12 to 3. It's the 60 and 60 ranking show, of course. So Kenny J's at the District in South Jordan. That's where Scotty's going to be. Scotty and Friends right there on Friday, noon to 3. We'll take the break. More to go, 97.5 KSL Sports Zone.
Listen, everybody. Real-life hypotheticals to get your brain churning. As JJ and Alex ask, would you rather?
All right, everybody, welcome back. JJ and Alex, 97.5 KSL Sports Zone. I was thinking about these Would You Rathers today, and I thought, because I want to see Team USA beat Team Canada so bad. And I hope both teams can actually make it. They both have to.
It was a close call today for both.
They both have to win their semifinal games to meet in the gold medal game.
Did you see the missed call in the Czechia-Canada game?
No, what happened?
Czechia had 6 guys on the ice when they scored a goal. There was 6 guys celebrating the goal, and the refs missed it.
A guy just didn't go out just to join. He didn't just go out there in that moment to join in?
No.
Ooh, boy. Well,
it would have been quite a controversy had Canada lost, but they didn't. But they went to overtime.
Well, so Team USA going to the semifinals. They get through in overtime. Canada gets through in overtime. Let me ask you this. A Team USA gold medal over Canada or a Team USA gold medal in the basketball tournament for the next Olympics. So you can only have one of those.
Hockey.
Really?
Yeah. It feels like
that one would be more significant
it's
because
so much more difficult for USA to beat Canada in hockey in the Olympics than it would be
for Argentina to beat the U.S. in like the third
Serbia
round
to
something.
finally get over the hump and beat, Jokic goes nuts and maybe our best players aren't in the tournament or something like that. I don't know.
But it's so much more
the United
embarrassing.
States has won. I get the embarrassment part, and you can counter. It's just the U.S. wins the gold medal in basketball so often. It's like, well, one down year. Let's build a redeem team and go kick butt the next time around. For the USA hockey, it's like close but not quite. And to be able to go and beat Canada for a gold medal would be so massive for American hockey. It would just be like the U.S. soccer team getting to the World Cup semifinals or something, right? Like it's just improbable.
Yeah, I just think that look, Canada, they're the superpower in hockey, no question, hands down, forevermore.
They are to hockey what U.S. is to basketball.
That's what I'm saying. Like the U.S. losing to Canada is something that, like, well, one, we've kind of gotten used to. Two, the vast majority of people aren't even going to know. Not vast majority. Well, no, I think it'll be like that. The basketball team not winning the gold medal is a national embarrassment, right?
Yes.
And I think that so Team USA gets silver in the Olympic Games against Team Canada.
Again?
It's not fun.
It's been 46 years since the Miracle on Ice. That was the last time.
Was that the last gold? Oh.
Yeah, see? 46 years. And if they don't get it this year, then you're looking at year 50.
Is USSR any good this year, Annapolis?
How are the Soviets?
What's East Germany doing?
What are the Soviets' chances in this tournament?
All right.
How are they doing?
My kids
Were they in the semifinals?
My kids were looking at the historic. It's so funny how patriotism works itself into your life. My kids were so incensed. My two little boys, they were incensed that we weren't in the medal count league. And then when you tell them who's winning, they're like, I don't even know where that is. Nor what? Yeah, Norway. No, they're good. They're the all-time leader in medals. Are you kidding? Yeah, but how many do we have overall between the summer and the winter? That was the next question. So we looked it up, and it's, not even close. It's like, I think the U.S. has like 800 more medals all time than anybody else.
Right.
And like 600 more golds than anybody else all time in the Summer Olympics. So it's not close. And they're like this. Yeah, that's right. Because then they see the table of the two added up. Yeah, where's Norway now? Norway, by the way, has never won a single medal in the Summer Games ever in its history. Not a single medal.
What?
Uh-huh. Not a single medal.
Is this real?
I'm almost certain of it because we went through the list and we were looking at the teams that have never won.
It was just like Brazil just won their first medal.
Right.
They got
And
a
I think
gold
that's kind of what, that's not their thing. Maybe I missed it. I don't know. I'm not sure if they. Anyway, bottom line is.
Yeah, no, I mean, I get your point. But
Oh, no, they have.
Won
No, they have.
160.
They won 160. Sorry. They were just way off. What I want to say is, I think what I was saying is because we looked at all the countries that had never won one, and it was just like insane that they had never won one. And I was like, what? It's like 64 countries have never won them. But a lot of them have a lot going on. They don't have the luxury we do to have an international Olympic committee. I mean, just an Olympic committee, a national Olympic committee. So anyway, so they're and my disappointment is pretty huge today too, finding out that the gold medal is actually mostly made of silver. All right, you're living a farce. You
might as well make them out of chocolate.
You could get somebody to foot the bill for the 90 gold medals that they have to make. I get it, it's a lot of money, but that's a great reward for these guys. Come on, man. They're doing awesome. Okay, we'll take a break. I was just thinking about that. What about one of the local teams hosting a first-round college football playoff game, or the Mammoth making in the next 2 years, or the Mammoth making the Stanley Cup Finals the next 2 years?
That's a hard one.
It's not at all hard. I like hockey a lot. We are a college football family around here, JJ.
Well, yeah, you're a college football family until the Mammoth are in the Stanley Cup Final.
Yeah.
And you get a taste of that.
And I would say that one is actually a more difficult hill to climb than BYU or Utah hosting a college football playoff game in the near future.
I mean, ask sports fans in Detroit whether they want a Michigan National Championship or a Detroit Red Wings Stanley Cup. They're probably saying Stanley Cup.
Yeah. No, I think so. Yeah.
By the way, if those medals were made completely of gold.
How much?
It would be 500 grams. It would be $82,550 per.
Okay.
Now they're made with only 6, and they're about $2,300.
Okay. Counter offer. Because some of these countries, so Kazakhstan won its second gold medal of all time in the men's free skate for figure skating. They're giving that guy $2 million.
Very nice.
They're giving that guy the equivalent of $2 million. Spain gives $1 million for gold medals at the Summer Games. So they did one year. Like the king of Spain was like, hey man, I'll go dip into the reserves back here and I'll bring out $1 million. $1 million.
Okay.
And $1 million. So an $82,000 medal, it feels like they'd be worth that anyway, intrinsically. Like, just the way it is. All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back. We have more around the corner. Steve Bartle, our Ute insider for KSLSports.com. He'll give us his thoughts on whether or not the Utes going to the playoffs or the Mammoth making it to the Stanley Cup Finals could be a reality. I don't know. But we'll talk about some Utah hoops and also some football stories as well. Steve joins us next. 97.5 KSL Sports Zone.
Ladies and gentlemen,
The biggest name. You're locked into JJ and Alex. With the insight and analysis on the teams you can't live without. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All right, everybody, welcome back. JJ and Alex, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Appreciate you being with us on the program. Good tunes today, Annapolis. I mean, normally you do, too, but these are all like good, man.
Some good spins.
I mean, I guess maybe you're just hitting the rotator. You don't want to take any credit for it, but just say, yeah, man, I made these just for you, JJ.
I'm setting up the yacht rock today.
It is. I know. And
let's set sail, baby.
A guy in his mid-20s into yacht rock, somebody did it right along the way. Were mom and dad blasting Michael McDonald at home when you were a kid? Probably not. I don't know.
You've always wanted a Yamo be there.
Oh, my goodness. Hey, We got to kick off the hour here. We got to get things going. Our Utah insider for KSLSports.com, he's Steve Bartle, joining us on the program. Let's get it going right now.
Covering the Utes better than anyone else. This is Ute insider Steve Bartle of KSLSports.com on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Steve Bartle joining us on the program. You can see him streaming live just right along sandwich between the two of us on our stream. Steve, nice enough to join us and give some insight to this Utah basketball and some football stuff as well, because the offseason is getting shorter and shorter these days. Steve, first of all, welcome to the program, man. Good to see you.
Good to be back with you guys. It's been a minute.
I know. It's not that you haven't been working your tail off. The Utes are struggling on the basketball court. And Alex Jensen mentioned, like, hey, we're going to try to build this thing the right way. He mentioned Houston. He mentioned building it brick by brick. Where are they in that process, and what kind of recruits have you seen Alex Jensen landing or even having the conversation to be able to possibly get that makes you feel like, hey, they are turning things around, and it might be a slow process, but it's going?
Yeah, this has been an interesting season for Utah. Obviously, there's been, when Alex was initially hired back in March, there was a lot of excitement about, him taking over the Utah basketball program, given, his connection, his place in the program. And he's always maintained the bigger perspective when it comes to building the program, rebuilding the program. He didn't want to come into this and with the wrong expectations. He set the expectations, very early on that, he wanted to take his time to really build this the right way. And, he got a staff together, they put together the roster, and, there was a decent amount of optimism coming into the season that this could be, an interesting group. I don't think conversation around the program and sort of the expectations for what this year would be, I don't ever think that those got, too optimistic, too out of control. I think everybody kind of understood what this year was going to be. I had said that I felt like, Utah could challenge for, that 12-13 spot in the Big 12. And, unfortunately, with the injuries and some of the departures, guys leaving the program for personal reasons, Utah's roster took some pretty tough hits. Yeah. So this first year, it's been difficult because, there's two dynamics going on here with Utah basketball. You've got the fan base where you're starting to feel the apathy that really set in with the fans start to dissipate. You're starting to, hear from fans that want to hear more talk about the program, starting to show up to games and that sort of thing. And then, obviously the product on the floor this year hasn't been great, especially in conference play. It's been tough. It's been really tough sledding for Alex Jensen and the Utes. But a big part of that is the injuries and the guys that have left the program and just the limited options and limited depth that Alex has had this year. So, this first year was all about laying the foundation, figuring out what he wanted to emphasize as a coach, what he wanted to build his program with. And with Wes Wilcox serving as general manager, it's such an interesting role now in college basketball because, we've grown up with it where the coaches are the guys that get out on the road and evaluate and recruit. But now, with the general manager, especially one like Wes, who comes from the NBA and has a lot of relationships, he can get out on the road. And obviously there's still requirements that he's got to, adhere to in terms of how many days he can be out and that sort of thing. But, with his relationships and his experience being what it is, he can go out and he can evaluate. He can, hit the international waters. He can hit the high school ranks. He can do all of that while Alex and his staff continue to coach the team. So you've seen Utah put together a class so far, 6 players that come from high school. You've got a couple return missionaries. You've got a player coming from the Overtime Elite League, which is kind of a semi-professional league. You've got one coming from the JUCO ranks and another coming from the international waters. So it's kind of an interesting blend of players and where they come from, different backgrounds. And I think these players in this 2026 class sort of represent at least a better idea of what Alex is trying to build with this program. And obviously a lot of work is still to be done. The conversation is going to shift quickly here to player retention, who's coming back. And then obviously with the transfer portal, plenty of work to be done there as well.
A rebuild is painful in any sport you do it. And you mentioned the expectations. I don't think they were very high at all. We all understood where they were at with this program and how much time it would take. But it's even more difficult, Steve, in the Big 12. This conference is insane. Mm-hmm. We're just watching BYU at this point where they're at with their roster and their progress. They're in the middle of the pack. To break through and beat the top teams in this league is extremely difficult. What is the model that Utah's following? What's the program they're looking out there and saying, that's a program that did what we're trying to do right now in a very, very good Power 4 conference? Is there some model out there that they're looking at? Or in conversations you've had with Alex Jensen and others, what's the model they're following?
Yeah, going back to, when Alex was initially hired, he made comments even then and has continued to throughout, the last 8 months or so, however long he's been on the job, almost a year now. Holy cow.
That's wild.
But he's consistently talked about Kelvin Sampson and this Houston basketball program, and that sort of being the model for what he's trying to build. And so obviously, Utah, BYU fans familiar with Houston, they just came through. They did, the Utah tour here just a couple weeks ago, beating both BYU and Utah. And Kelvin Sampson, one of the great coaches in college basketball, obviously leading Houston to a lot of success over the years, had a lot of really interesting things to say about Alex Jensen and sort of what he's heard of him, what he knows of Utah basketball, and talked a lot about, as you guys have kind of alluded to, building it brick by brick, right? Establishing your identity, the culture you want to build around. He talked about needing to figure out, do you want to be an offensive team? Do you want to be a defensive team? And building from there. And I think, this first year was about figuring that out for Alex. And I think with some of the players in the class, we kind of get a better idea of what he's trying to emphasize. There's going to be players coming into this, into the program from this 26 class that, offer higher levels of skill, at a number of different positions. Finn Scott, their most recent commitment from Austria, is a really skilled big man, something that they don't have on this roster. Jackson Johnson, the former Alta star, is returning from his mission, and he's going to be, a key factor for Alex in this rebuild. Jackson is a tremendous talent, a lot of skill for being a 6'9" wing, a great shooter. And I think that is going to be something that he emphasizes. He wants to continue to build this roster out defensively. I think that is something that he's going to continue to emphasize, is building it in sort of the same way that Houston has, where you really emphasize perimeter defense. You've got skill up and down the lineup. And I think that is really where Alex wants to, sort of take this program, is, having an offense that, everybody is at least a threat, can do multiple things at all five positions, and then a team that is bought in defensively. And I think that is going to be what Alex tries to build. And again, with this 6-man class and with the transfer portal looming, plenty of work to be done to continue to build that out. But with the 6-man group specifically, a lot of players that sort of fit that mold.
You brought up Wes Wilcox, who is the general manager. And it's an interesting model because we're all trying to get used to whatever that means. In the football team has every big program has general managers for football, general managers for basketball, whatever it might be. And Wes Wilcox is a great get because he's got a lot of front office NBA experience. I think that would translate into this, except for what is the role of a general manager for a basketball program in the 2026 era of college basketball? Like, you have to have them, but at the same time, like, what is his specific role? Is it just figuring out the contract stuff, or what are some of the things? I mean, it was a month and a half or something into Alex Jensen's hire that they hired Wes Wilcox. Like, hey, this has to happen. Everybody else is doing it. We got to do the same thing. But what's the real impact that a guy like Wes Wilcox can have?
Yeah, Alex, his first hire was Coach Rafael Chilius, who brought the recruiting pedigree to Utah, and then his very next hire was Wes Wilcox. So his first two hires were two guys that really kind of played a key role in roster construction. And with Wes as general manager, that is, his big duty is roster construction, roster management. So that incorporates, evaluation, getting out and evaluating these players on film, in person, getting to know them. And then obviously with, the financial aspect of college athletics now, he's going to be handling the contract negotiations, the financials of everything. And then two, obviously we know that, where the game is at, and with the transfer portal being what it is, you constantly have to have communication, both with your current players and with agents, to have a feel for what's going to be available, how certain players are feeling, to get a gauge of what the market is going to be like. And so Wes can handle all of the roster construction dynamics of a college basketball program. That is his primary task, and why Alex wanted to bring him in, so that Alex could focus strictly on the relationships with the players, the coaching of basketball, and that sort of stuff. So everything when it comes to the roster, the construction, the management of all of it, that is what the general manager is tasked with doing. And with Wes, I know that he's been out on the road internationally evaluating prospects, probably visited Finn Shot, I think is what it is actually. Mm-hmm. And probably paid him a visit while he was out on the road. And so, that's his job, is to get out, to be the recruiter, to be the financial guy, and to be kind of the guy that has the sense of, what guys are thinking in terms of the transfer portal and all of that.
Switching gears to football, we had a conversation, I believe it was yesterday. We came across a list of the top 25 transfer portal moves of the offseason, and Utah was in the mix at number 25. As you look at what Utah did in the transfer portal, what transfer portal addition do you think is going to have the most impact in 2026?
Man, that's a great question, because it's a big, transfer portal class. But I think with where Morgan Scalley, has talked about wanting to be a little bit more aggressive, specifically on the offensive side of the ball, right, with where he wants to take this offense, and sort of the emphasis that he is putting on the quarterback position. I think the two guys that they brought in at wide receiver, Braden Pagan and Kirry Scholes, are the two guys that I would talk about the most here. And, it's easy because obviously Pagan, many consider him one of the top receivers in the class. Scholes, kind of a under the radar, sneaky good addition in the class. But these are two guys that not only have really good production to their name, but they have familiarity with Kevin McGivern's offense. And we saw how that could benefit players this past year who followed Jason Beck from New Mexico, obviously speaking to Devin Dampier, Kirry Rogers, and Ryan Davis. That's going to help Pagan and Scholes hit the ground running. And since with Utah bringing those two players in, it really is going to be interesting how they mesh together with what Utah is bringing back, because I do think, Utah's bringing back a couple of playmakers that, are going to be factors in this offense, with, Larry Simmons specifically being a guy that I'm interested to see how this all melds together with Pagan, Scholes, and Simmons, because I think that could be a pretty dynamic three-headed monster at receiver with those three. How do they come, the chemistry, how does that come along with the quarterbacks? But I think those are the two guys, Pagan and Scholes, that I would peg as, the most important, the most valuable players that Utah brought in the transfer portal.
If you follow Steve Bartle, you can get the same type of updates that we do, which is, you go to KSLSports.com and you get yourself hooked up. He's got the preseason pre. It's always good to we don't care how early it is, and give me like a roster projection all day long.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Veins.
I love all that stuff. So you can go see all of those. What are some surprises people might see on the offensive or defensive side? And you covered both of them, obviously.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting, and obviously a lot of new names.
Yeah.
Right. I think a lot of new names to get familiar with, and I probably shouldn't have mentioned him in the last segment, but Larry Simmons is a guy that I think is going to continue to be a guy for Utah, productive player for Utah at that receiver spot. So Larry Simmons is one player to definitely monitor this offseason. Another name to know is Kelvin Obot, obviously the 5-star offensive tackle coming in from Fruitland High School in Idaho. Jordan Gross, his head coach there at Fruitland, is now the offensive line coach for Utah. And what does that look like? You've also got, a few guys on the defense side of the ball that I think are really, really fascinating. So Elijah Reed, he's a cornerback that came in from Akron. Utah actually recruited him out of high school in the 2021 cycle. He ended up committing to Kentucky. That's where he's from, is Kentucky. He was a late bloomer that cycle. Utah was pushing hard for him, didn't get him. He entered the portal after, I think, 2 years at Kentucky, and Utah was in a really good spot with their cornerback room, so didn't really make a push for him. Now he enters the portal after 2 years starting at Akron, and Utah's finally able to bring him in. He's a guy with, he's 6'2", really long, really lanky, and that was kind of the point of emphasis for Utah in that secondary, was adding, cornerbacks, defensive backs that are bigger, longer, and a bit more disruptive, guys with production. James Chenault is another from USF. So they brought in 2 guys with experience, and suddenly, despite the departures that Utah's seen in the secondary, there's a lot of depth in that group with the players that they brought in and who they're bringing back. JC Hart, who I shouldn't say redshirted because he already redshirted previously in his career, but transferred to Utah last spring and essentially redshirted this year. But he's going to be a guy to keep tabs on at that cornerback spot. 6'2", 200 pounds, 4.3 speed, coming from Auburn. So he's got the frame, the athleticism you love to see at that cornerback spot. I think he's going to be a guy to keep a close eye on, could really make that cornerback room really, really interesting this offseason. But those are probably the names that I'd single out with that offensive and defensive depth chart.
You can go check it out for yourself. He's got it posted right there, KSLSports.com. Steve always getting us the best information that we can get. And as soon as there's a pre anything, you let us know, Steve, because we want to pre-notify the listeners as well. So we appreciate it, man. Thanks for hanging out.
Thanks, Steve.
We'll chat with you again soon here.
Appreciate you guys. Have a good one.
There you go, Steve Bartle. Let's take a break. We'll come back. We have more around the corner. When we come back, we've got ourselves a couple things to talk about. Yes, those Mick Cronin comments that have been making the rounds probably showed up if you're a sports person, probably showed up immediately this morning on your social media feed or maybe even last night late. Not the best look for the guy who is fine with not having a good look. So we'll take the break here. This portion of the program brought to you by University of Utah Health. At University of Utah Health, hope is in our DNA. Learn more at uofuhealth.org. That's uofuhealth.org. University of Utah Health, for you, for life. We'll come back. 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
Is right here on the Zone. This is JJ and Alex on 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
Welcome back, everybody. JJ and Alex, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone. Hopefully you're doing well today and you're staying out of trouble on the road. Bummer for a lot of folks who had their flights grounded around Salt Lake City before international before they got everything kind of cleared out. It's we need this snow so dang bad though. My heavens. I'm not trying to sound like an old guy. You know what? You go to old person status when you go, yeah, but we needed this, didn't we?
Finally getting some moisture.
Moisture. Got the moisture.
Prayers are answered.
Okay. Hey, that music coming on in, there's a point to it. It's a Win Ticket Wednesday right here on the KSL Sports Zone. All the other shows did it all day long, and we're going to do it also. We're giving away tickets to Post Malone, Special guest Jelly Roll, Carter Faith at the Ricycle Stadium, on the 28th of July of this summer. So win those tickets right now by being caller number 12, 801-575-ZONE, 801-575-ZONE, 801-575-9663. You can also grab those tickets at livenation.com. But caller number 12 is going to win those right now, so there you go. Love always giving it. That's probably one of the biggest. I mean, I'll be honest, our promotions people were like, we got them. We got the tickets to give away. We got Post Malone. So they were very excited about it, and I think the person who's going to win is going to be also super excited. All right. Mick Cronin, he's UCLA's eccentric head coach. Did you put it that way?
Fiery.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Prickly.
Part of that word,
combustible.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, look, the guy, he can get fired up. And he was fired up. He has had a rough go on this last particular road trip. UCLA going out to Michigan, the state of Michigan, to play Michigan and Michigan State. Michigan, one of the best teams in the whole country. Michigan State, Tom Izzo's there. So they're always going to be good when he's there. And they lost by 23 last night. Mick Cronin.
82-59.
Yeah.
He really hates travel. He's made that clear.
He has said it. Yes, that was the one thing. Like, he brought up how bad the travel situation is for these guys and for them. And I think that's kind of lame because I get it. It is. But you're in the situation that you are. And when you say that stuff, it just sounds like an excuse. And actually, this interaction, now here's what happened I thought he did awesome last night as a coach. So there was a UCLA player who had a late hard foul, like aggressive foul, one of the ones that you look at and you go, that kid was trying to hurt that other kid while he's in the air, right? And those are always nasty. They're always scary. And Stephen Jamerson III was the player who went up and basically took the legs out from under one of the Michigan State players who was on a breakaway. That is one of the big sports. That's one of the big basketball no-nos, JJ. Like, this guy's going up. They're vulnerable in the air. And he could have hurt this kid. Mick Cronin doesn't just get after his player. He kicks him off the court himself. He goes, "You're done. You're going to the locker room." And the kid was like, "What?" You could tell there was.
Yeah.
And I thought, dude, that's a leadership thing right there. That's awesome.
Yeah, kind of embarrassed the kid, to be honest.
I'm sure. And if you embarrass kids, by the way, you might get the.
Don't know if that works in 2026.
You might get the Coach Tang treatment and get find yourself on the outside looking in. No,
with
but
cause.
I thought that, like, saying, "Hey, look, that is such a bad thing that we can't tolerate that at all. That's not what our program is about." I see that, so I was okay with that part. The post-game interview that has now been heard around the world is him basically being a massive sore loser and deflecting it onto a bunch of other people, including a young reporter who was just asking a question at the post-game scrum and ended up getting the ire of Coach Mick Cronin. Here's what it sounded like.
What was your thoughts in the student section chanting Booker's name?
I could give a rat's ass about the other team's student section.
I just meant overall the way that you
I would like to give you a kudos for the worst question I've ever been asked.
Did you like
You should take it.
the preparation of the...
Do you really think I care about the other team's
No, I don't
section?
think you care about the other
Are you
team.
raising your voice at me?
No, I'm just
Yeah, you are.
talking.
Yeah, you are. Come on, dude.
No reason.
Come on. Yes, you are. Everybody's standing here listening to you. Everybody. This is on camera. They can hear you. I answered the question. I could give a rat's ass about the other team's student section. I coach UCLA. I don't care about Michigan State students. I mean, who cares?
By the way, nobody on the planet agreed with Mick Cronin that the kid raised his voice to him. First of all, he tried to have a follow-up question, and Mick wasn't even having it. He wouldn't even let him. And then he did what I have deemed, JJ, the interview version of a flop. When the most flagrant flop you can imagine, probably on the soccer pitch, where a guy doesn't get hit, but kind of does the dive and the roll, grabbing the mystery ankle injury.
Yeah.
That was Mick Cronin, who was like, "Are you raising your voice to me?" "No." "Yeah, you are. Everybody here." I mean, it was this like weird gaslighting thing. "Everybody here has heard it. It's all on camera, brother. You were raising your voice to me." And this guy's like, "I wasn't raising my voice." He's like, "Yeah, you were, dude. Yeah, dude, you were." It just cut him off the whole time. It is insane to me. I hope this guy, and he won't because I don't think he's a good dude. All the coaches think that he is. Fine, whatever. All the other people that in the conference think he's great. He made it to a Final Four. And then what? Like, Mick Cronin has shown this type of character it's deceitful. He's a liar. That's what it is. He is the one who made this situation up. I don't think the kid's question was super either. But you know what? They get questions that are much worse than that, by the way, that are dumber than that all day long. Not a great question. The kid tried to follow it up and probably was going to have something better, but Mick Cronin was like, I'm just going to embarrass this kid. And the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to make up the situation that he is raising his voice at me like he's the assault victim. It was so stupid. I hated every second of it. It was so cringe. Mick Cronin, you're cringe, and your program currently sucks. And the reason you're getting so defensive and you're doing the flop is because you guys suck right now. That's why he reacted the way he did. Mr. Defensive got that way because his team sucks.
Mick Cronin, fun at parties. Yeah,
bring him along with friends.
This is a coach who sees his team slipping off the NCAA tournament bubble, and he's panicking, and he's freaking out, and he's taking it out in other ways. And we've seen this guy before do different things like this. Some of his weird rants about the schedule they have to play. Everybody at UCLA knew when you went to the Big Ten that you're going to have to adjust to these travel things. You knew that. Why are you complaining about it every time you go on a road trip? He did it again this year, earlier in the year. Like, you have to do it. This is part of the deal. You signed up for this, and you're getting money for it. So spare me the complaints about the travel. This is big boy sports. You're playing in the Big Ten. Deal with it. Rutgers has to come to your place too, right? So whoopity-doo. But ultimately, this is the pressure building of a season on the brink for them with so much expectation. When you're the coach at UCLA, you're expected to go on deep tournament runs. Not just make the tournament, go deep. Every year. That's hard. And I'm sure that wears on him, especially when he's been there before.
Right.
And it's been a minute since he's been there, right? They had a pretty good team last year that, and I think Utah State ran into them. So they were good. But it's been a minute since they've had the kind of success that's expected out at UCLA. And I think he's feeling that pressure, and you can tell. And I don't think he's a guy that handles pressure very well.
Obviously not. Obviously not.
If the way you treat other human beings becomes compromised because of the pressure you're under, you might want to step back a little bit.
Well, here's the real problem, too, because the vast majority, look, humanity knows what the truth is because it was on camera, by the way. And that actually goes against him because the guy was not raising his voice to him at all. And so Mick Cronin doesn't just crash out. And most people are like, man, Mick Cronin really embarrassed himself. I'm like, he embarrassed himself, but number one, UCLA should be ashamed of their head coach in basketball. And they probably got to ask him, like, look, all you're doing is making excuses. Oh, we have to travel a lot. Okay, but you have to host people at UCLA as well who got to come out from Ohio State and Rutgers, And I get it. You guys have a long trip that you have to take out east. Okay? Why don't you just take what is yours and do something with it? Okay, you can't change the circumstance. If you complain enough, do you think UCLA go, you're right, man, we're going to hop into the new Pac-12. Come on.
You have that option. You can play out west. Join the Big West. You don't have to leave the state of California except for that trip you have to make to Orem to play Utah Valley.
Big West, too good. Why don't you just come into the Mountain West? Going to the Sun Bowl every other year. Be kind of fun.
It's a long way from Fargo. Nobody wants to go to Fargo in February, trust me.
That's crazy. All right, that dude sucks. Like, I'm just I'm annoyed because I feel bad for this kid. The good news is that, like I said, humanity recognizes this. Every person who watches that knows that the narcissist in this situation is that guy.
Yeah.
The guy who makes up what the reality was. This is a personality disorder. Let's get the DSM-4 out and let's get some psychologists on the line here. All right. Let's diagnose this guy just based off of this, all right? Because there's some meat on that bone. You could absolutely diagnose that guy with something, and it ain't good. And you know what? He's the one that is, quote-unquote, leading young men.
If Jerome Tang can get fired for cause, What could UCLA do to Mick Cronin?
You can make you can make an argument all day long and just say, look, you embarrass our program, man. Thanks for all you've done. We've paid you a lot of money to not do well, and that's not good enough. And, yeah, we'll pay you out because that's worth it to us because you're not good for this university. So there you go. All right, we'll take a break. Before we do, all of this this portion of the show brought to you by the good folks at Hercules First Federal Credit Union. Hercules First Federal Credit Union, growing stronger together. We will come back. I've got a top 10 for you. JJ and Alex Napolis, they hear me get all giggly when I put the top 10s together because I don't share what it is. And today is an interesting one, okay? We might get shut out all the way. We'll see. 97.5 EKSL Sports Center.
Accessing.
When TV and radio collide.
Love it.
Wow. This is what you get. You're listening to JJ and Alex.
Don't touch that dial.
On 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Welcome back, everybody. JJ and Alex, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone. Thanks for being with us today. The KSL Sports Zone and Beehive Meals teaming up to honor people that impact the youth sports in their communities around them. I don't care what sport it is. If it's a person who is really doing a great job volunteering for that soccer team, that softball team, if it's a team mom who just does everything and seems to get it all dialed up for the team, somebody who deserves that extra kudos because they really don't get any because they're just doing it because they love the kids and they love to be able to provide that. I'm telling you, we appreciate those people, and the folks at Beehive Meals do as well. Beehive Meals is doing their Hero of the Week program. So just go to kslsports.com/contests and you nominate somebody, and we read the winners off every Thursday. We'll do it tomorrow, and Beehive Meals throws in $250. So there you go. kslsports.com/contests. There you go. Top of the hour, we're going to get Jason Scheer, by the way. Covers Arizona for Wildcat Authority. You know, Arizona's on a 2-game losing streak. I think their luck has run out.
Man, I look at my notes. They've dropped all the way to number 4 in the country. Dark days in Tucson.
I'm actually concerned more.
Pete's injured.
I know. I'm actually more concerned for BYU that they've lost the last 2.
Yeah.
And because of all the last year stuff, what happened in Tucson, BYU won that one, squeaking and went out there. Anyway, we'll talk to Jason coming up when we round the corner to the top of the hour. But our top 10 is happening right now, and I told you I was like, okay, and I get amused by a lot of really dumb things, and that's my fault, okay. But the reality is I saw this top 10. You're not gonna. Well, you might get shut out. It is the most random poll I've ever seen, or random top 10 I've ever seen in my life.
Are you trying to intimidate me?
So this guy kind of went through the same thing we did. I think this guy who just posts a lot of like, not even necessarily rankings, but like, hey, this school is the best at X, Y, and Z. And it's all legitimate stuff. It's all like, hey, look at this great stat about Kansas basketball, whatever. Today he goes, you know what? Screw it. I'm putting up this. FBS schools ranked by the walking distance to the nearest mini golf course. When I said there could be a shutout, I wasn't freaking messing around, dude. All right? Are you ready?
Yeah.
Napolis, you going to help out? You better. Now, these are all FBS. So you're at least down to 136, I think, something like that. So, on your mark, get set, go.
Utah State.
Ding.
Utah, BYU. Montana State. Idaho State, Boise State, Idaho. Washington State, Washington.
Oh, wait, what'd you say?
Oregon State. Gonzaga. Eastern Washington. Portland. Stanford, Cal, UCLA, USC. Texas State.
Ding!
Texas. Tennessee. Florida State. Indiana. Illinois. Michigan State. Nebraska.
I'd hang out in Michigan still, if I were you.
Eastern Michigan. Western Michigan. Northern
Central.
Michigan.
Dang for the Central Michigan.
Minnesota. Mankato State.
Mankato State.
Bemidji State.
No, we're going FBS. Come on.
They're in hockey. Rutgers. North Carolina, Duke.
You know what?
I got some.
Kudos for the 3 that you guys got. And you got the very first one. Utah State is on the list at number 10. So I don't know. I don't know where I can't confirm that. Like it says it's actually the walking distance from the team's stadium to the nearest mini golf course. Maybe that would have made a difference for you if you didn't know that tidbit. Not just campus, but the stadium on campus.
I don't think that would have mattered.
So Utah State number 10, Central Michigan number 9, number 8 is Texas State. Yeah, you got it. You freaking got it, man. I'm giving myself kudos because this person only put logos of schools up, and I'm like, good thing I know what these logos are. So now you got a tie at 5th place with Baylor, Kennesaw State, Kansas. Should have gone through the Big 12, man. You would have gotten a couple there. So, yeah, Baylor, Kennesaw State, and Kansas all tied for number 5. You know what? Eastern Michigan, I think, is on it. It's just the big green E, right?
Yeah.
The big green E. I'm going to count it. Eastern Michigan.
I got it.
We got 4 on the list, you guys.
Ding right.
Ding right is right. UNLV, number 3. I'm shocked. Actually, you know what? I'm not shocked. There's probably some mini putt-putt golf course in like every casino that's there that's just buried in the basement somewhere.
That would have been an easy one. Should have thought of that.
You should have gotten this one as well. The who are the Roadrunners down?
UTSA.
SA, yeah, San Antonio. And then your winner, the Charlotte 49ers.
Of course.
There you go.
You know what you should have done? Top 10 schools mentioned in the Epstein files. That would have been better.
That was definitely one of the options, and I steered clear of it. I don't know who went through those.
We want to do career roulette.
Let's just say this.
We need to spice up the show a little bit.
Hey.
We need to take risks.
This is one of those that Arizona State, better call somebody.
Uh-oh.
Let's get a lawyer, huh? All right, we'll come back. We have more to go around the corner when we return. Jason Scheer is going to join us. He's done it before many times. We'll talk about Arizona and hoops in Tucson tonight. BYU hitting the road for an absolutely tough matchup. Their first time without Richie Saunders, a full game without Richie, knowing that he's out for the rest of the season with that ACL. We'll come back and talk to Jason next, right here, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
Ladies and gentlemen,
the biggest name. You're locked into JJ and Alex. With the insight and analysis on the teams you can't live without. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Welcome back, everybody. JJ and Alex, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Thanks for hanging out with us today on a Win Ticket Wednesday. Did we get a winner of all those tickets? Oh, yeah, man. Somebody's going to go see Posty and Jelly Roll.
Sweet.
This song, not Posty or Jelly Roll.
No.
Don't know if you knew that.
Boston, right?
I'm pretty sure. Oh, yeah, that unmistakable harmony, yes. It's hard to see what happened to Richie Saunders, and then it's hard to imagine what kind of fight you're going to see out of BYU. No, that's not true. I'm not saying that BYU will not play. Kevin Young's going to have a game playing tonight in Tucson against Arizona. It's just, when was the last time a BYU basketball team went the rest of a season without Richie Saunders?
It's been a minute.
And
he's the leader of that team. There's no question about it.
Yes. And I know that Rob Wright and I know that AJ DeBonsa, look, they're awesome. They're elite players, man. They're all conference dudes. Yeah. I mean, obviously. And obviously AJ DeBonsa's reputation precedes him anywhere he goes, and that pressure's always there. The pressure's even more crazy now that Richie Saunders is out. So, and then you're facing an Arizona team that has lost 2 games in a row, and they remember what happened in Tucson last year when BYU came to town. What a weird game and what a crazy ending, and all the things that came, the extracurriculars that came afterward. They're going to be fired up. They want to get a massive win, and they smell blood in the water when one of the best players on their team is out for the rest of the season. Jason Scheer joins us on the program right now. Let's kick off the hours we always do. Top of the program, it is The Cut.
It's time for the biggest story of the day. This is what made the cut with JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
This portion of the program brought to you by Trajan Wealth, TRAJAN Wealth.com. That's Trajan Wealth for all your trusted local needs in retirement. Jason Scheer covers Arizona for Wildcat Authority. We talked about football. We talked about basketball. Jason, welcome back to the program, man.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
All right. Well, I kind of set it up here. If I'm somebody watching this game tonight, Arizona is not liking the last two games that they played. Very, very good opponents. The Big 12 is deep, man, and it's and Arizona is one of the best teams in the country. They've proven it all year long. BYU comes in. They won on that floor last year. All these things, and no Richie Saunders for BYU. This all adds up to a Arizona team that's going to have a massive chip on their shoulder, and they want to take it to BYU.
Yeah. I mean, I completely agree, and it's not just what happened last year. I mean, the two losses, like you mentioned, players, and I definitely think, especially with Houston coming up on Saturday, that Arizona's kind of entering this game, with a don't forget about us type of mentality. So I definitely think there's a little bit of a chip on their shoulder and the feeling that maybe, even though they know they're really good, that there's kind of still something to prove as, people wonder, I don't want to say a fluke, but if people wonder that maybe they're not as good as was previously thought.
Arizona coming into this game with a little bit of adversity, a couple of losses. Koa Pete out with a lower leg injury. I think there's all the teams in the country would love to have Arizona's adversity, but how's the team handling this? I guess you call it a little bit of a blip on their radar.
Yeah, I mean, they're handling it well. I think Tommy Lloyd has the right approach where, everyone was talking about could Arizona run the table and all that, and Tommy Lloyd is one game at a time, and he never talked publicly about running the table as a possibility, and there were even a few times where he said, look, we're going to lose a game or two here, guys. And after the loss to Kansas, he said, I'll be blunt, we're probably going to lose a couple more. Like, the Big 12 is it's a really good conference, and it's hard to win. And so I think they have the right mentality. I mean, Koa Pete didn't play the second half against Texas Tech, and they lost that game. And they went from, undefeated to 2 losses in a row. So I think we'll find out a lot tonight. But generally speaking, Tommy Lloyd's teams have handled adversity pretty well. This game tonight, BYU coming into town, and obviously with one of their big three, as they're referred to, and it's not just big three for BYU. It was a massive three. They have quite a bit of a falling off from the points perspective after if those three guys aren't hitting with A.J. DeBonsa, Richie Saunders, and Rob Wright. And now with one of them out of the equation, that makes it a little bit easier. I guess I could say easier in quotes for somebody to get men on A.J. DeBonsa to make sure you can bottle up Rob Wright, because he can go off for 30. He's done it a couple times this year, and certainly they're going to feel that type of a pressure. What is Arizona's approach to, hey, this is one of the best players in the country? Obviously, we played him before. They had a closer game than we probably wanted by the end of that one against BYU at the Marriott Center. How are they going to attack knowing that those two guys are there and Richie's out? Yeah, I think the biggest thing is, twofold. Number one, you got to make sure AJ doesn't completely go off. And the way Arizona did that in the first game as well, he got his points. It was inefficient, and they did it by throwing a lot of different looks at him. I think 4 different players guarded him that game. I expect something similar with different looks. And then it's a matter of not letting the other guys get going. Because, I mean, if DeBansa and Robert Wright drop 20 points each, or, even 25 points each, there's still other guys, right? And so it'll be interesting to see if it changes anything. I mean, they played Saunders and Wright straight up, and DeBansa was the one that they gave attention to. Do they kind of switch it and, let DeBansa kind of get his and maybe switch the focus to Wright? It'll be interesting, but the one thing I can guarantee is that while Arizona's a straight man-to-man type of team, they're going to throw different guys at DeBansa, and there's going to be 3 or 4 different players that guard him and have kind of different defensive styles, whether it's a Waka with his physicality or Yvonne with his versatility. They're going to try to give DeBansa a bunch of different looks from different angles and see if they can at least make, his 25 points or whatever he scores inefficient.
Looking at the Arizona roster, one of the most impressive things to me in that first matchup against BYU was Arizona's depth. I mean, you're rolling out with 7 guys that average more than 20 minutes a game. Not many teams in the league can say that, and obviously that contributes to their success. Can you take us through what Tommy Lloyd's roster building? Because you see a lot of teams in this league, and many of the great teams in the country are top heavy because it's so hard to have this many good guys. How did he build such depth on this roster?
Yeah, the one consistent thing he has, especially with the transfer portal, is he's not going to break the bank for one player. He won't do it. And even though they have a pretty solid NIL, there's recruits, whether it's portal or high school, that price themselves out right away. Where if they go with a certain amount, Tommy Lloyd will just say, I'm not doing it. That's not how we approach it. And obviously, guys like Braden Burries and Koa Pete weren't for free, but it's a situation where it's an entire roster. He looks very hard at the entire roster, and he's not going to go all out for one star player and build around that. He'd rather have balanced teams, and that's something even with, Caleb Love was really good last year, but there's balance on that team. This year it's Koa, Burries, Bradley. It's what he views to be important, and so he'd rather have guys that maybe play roles off the bench that maybe aren't superstars, but they're good at specific things, as opposed to having one superstar and just a bunch of guys. He'd rather have balance with the starting lineup and then be able to bring guys off the bench that are able to do certain jobs.
One of the great things that Arizona does well is they play pretty darn good defense. They win every game almost by 20 points. It's I think top 5 or top 7 in the country in terms of like that point differential. If this one goes exactly how Tommy Lloyd wants to plan this one out, if it feels a little bit like a mismatch at the center because and Kebakeda hasn't been playing super well, but giving up 7 inches to the 7-foot. To the 7'2" center from Arizona, I'm always like, that's a big disparity. But those guys absolutely were punching the heck out of each other in game one. It was kind of fun to watch.
I love that matchup. For all the attention that the superstars get with the Bansa and Wright and Burries and all that matchup's so fun to watch because they beat the heck out of each other. I mean, it's physical. They're pushing each other. They're fighting for rebounds. It's a great matchup. I think Krivas is one of the best defensive centers in the country. He makes Arizona's defense go. When he's on the bench, there's generally a big drop-off if he's in foul trouble or whatever it may be. I could see both teams kind of going at the opposing center. I mean, if Kada's on the bench, BYU's not going to be as big, obviously, or as physical. And then if Krivas is on the bench, all of a sudden, Arizona's depth is almost non-existent now with Pete and Dwayne Aristode out as well for tonight. So that matchup might be it is one of the keys to the game. And if people watch it closely, they'll see two guys just going at it in the post, and it's fun to watch.
AJ DeBonsa playing on the road at Arizona. I think there's going to be a lot of people around the country that want to see how he handles that and watches that. But it reminds me of just how many great players there are in this conference, and you follow it closely. You get to see all these guys. We unfortunately saw one go down with JT Toppin last night with the ACL. Who's going to be the player of the year this year in the Big 12? I think it's really tough because there's so many great players.
I would have said, if you would have asked me this 48 hours ago, I would have said Toppin.
Exactly.
Right?
That's why I bring it up, right? Now it's wide open again.
Yeah, it's wide open again. I mean, Toppin killed Arizona. He was on fire, and now I don't think you can give it to him. He's going to be missing the last 6 games, and so. Josh Jefferson on Iowa State comes to mind. To me, it's probably between AJ and Josh Jefferson. Those are the two guys that I would keep in mind. But I love Kingston Flemings too. And you said it, like, this conference is it's the amount of talent individually as a team. It has just been so fun to watch, and there's so many different guys that I could point to as being some of the best at their position in the country. Peterson doesn't play enough. Or else I think that he would be in there. But right now, I would say AJ and Joshua Jefferson are probably the two that I have an eye on for the player of the year.
I'm going to bring up some football because one of the guys that we really like in this conference as a coach is Brent Brennan, and he just got extended. That was one of the most wild years for Arizona because they were so good, and yet they certainly turned a massive corner. What's Brent Brennan done and don't think that it missed on Wildcat fans that Arizona State was behind them in the standings at the very end of the season. But I want to know what your thoughts are on keeping Brent Brennan at that program through 2030, and they also extended his coordinators as well.
Yeah, it's a big deal when the relatively new athletic director. I don't want to say she's a football AD, but she recognizes the value in football, and so when the season ended. And Arizona doesn't have 9-win, 10-win seasons. It doesn't happen here very often at all. So the key was Brennan, and Brennan made sure that the coordinators came along too. I mean, the Arizona defense was fantastic this past season. The offense was solid, and Seth Dagey, this is his first year as a Power 4 coordinator, so he was kind of learning. But Noah Fifita in his career at Arizona had never had an offensive coordinator for consecutive years. And so it was vital that they bring back the offensive coordinator. And, I like it. I mean, I think Brendan's biggest mistake, and he would tell you the same, is that he kind of gave in to making everyone happy in that first year. And there were players that didn't necessarily fit the culture. And, we talked about NIL spending with basketball. He wasn't balanced. He made sure certain guys were happy and other guys didn't really, he didn't really build the entire roster. This past year, it was a different, approach. And even with next year's roster, it's a different approach. And so I think you'll see balance and more depth at each position, especially on the defensive side of the ball. But having consistency in a coach more than 2 or 3 years for Arizona football is something that doesn't happen often. And so stability, I think, is the key word around the AD and the football program, and that's what the extensions and the raises did.
Coming off a 9-win season and tying for fourth in a very, very good conference, and having Noah Fifita back, how do the Wildcats build on that, and what are the expectations for this team? Way too early, but what are their expectations in 2026?
Yeah, I mean, the schedule is a little harder than it was this past year, but they missed Utah, they missed Texas Tech, they get both of those this upcoming year. But expectations they've been raised, they just have, and that's what happens when you're successful around Arizona. But they brought back Noah Fifita, but they lost some guys. They on the defensive side of the ball, their group of safeties was as good as anyone in the country. They lost all of them, so they had to replace that in the portal. And a lot of it's going to come down to how good that secondary is. If that secondary can be anywhere close to last year, Arizona's defense is going to be good. If not, it'll take a step back. And offensively, they lost some of their offensive linemen, and the game's won in the trenches. So I think there's a lot of questions, but they've shown that they scout the transfer portal really well and high school really well. And a lot of these guys that they got in the transfer portal for last season were successful. So while there's questions, if you were to ask the coaches even to give you a straight up honest answer, they would tell you that they're optimistic about next year.
As you watch this Arizona program go into the transfer portal, and I don't know how much success, it's such a battle, and the throwing the money part at it, it's one thing to have an athletic director who's behind it, but from a donor standpoint, what's the money situation for Arizona? Do they have some pretty high-level folks who've swooped in and said, hey, man, count on us? Or how is that situation? Because that matters now as much as anything else, it feels like, in college football.
Yeah, I mean, I would say it's average. It's probably middle of the conference. I mean, look, no one's going to go out and spend Texas Tech money, right? It's just not, and they're not going to reach the BYU levels or anything like that. But they can compete. And I think that, Brent Brennan came from San Jose State, where there's no money at all, and you have to be able to evaluate. And I think the best way at Arizona to win is the ability to evaluate and fill needs and find diamonds in the rough and things like that. I think you have to. And, and then retention. And Arizona spent a lot of their money on retention and making sure the younger players that they like came back, maybe more so than the transfer portal guys. And it's important. And, there may be some growing pains along the way, but that's their strategy. Their strategy is to retain the best players on the roster and see them grow within the program and kind of add pieces from there. And we'll find out a lot more this year about how that strategy works. But I would say it's probably average NIL right now.
Back to basketball before we cut you loose. We can look forward and ahead. Obviously, Arizona's not looking past BYU, but that game against Houston, number 4 versus number 2, and obviously I think Arizona's the best team in the country right now, so it feels like a 1 versus 2 type matchup. How incredible is that game going to be coming up this weekend?
Yeah, I wish Arizona was healthy. I really, but I think Koa Pete, would play a large role in that game. Going to Houston, where they basically don't lose in Big 12 play, and being down a starter and a 6-man basically is really tough. But it's a fun game. I think Houston is the type of team where when you play them, you learn a lot about yourself. Like they make you work for everything. They defend really well. They're efficient. They're super well coached. They're clearly one of the best teams in the country. Assuming Arizona wins tonight, if they don't win tonight, maybe that takes some of the excitement off of Saturday. But it's still going to be a fun game, and you can make a case it's for the conference title, really, with the way the schedules and now that Tech doesn't have Toppin, and there's it's probably 4 teams in there, and Arizona still has to face Kansas and Iowa State. So, it's a big game for sure, and if Houston wins with the way their schedule's set up, You know, I don't want to say they've locked up the conference, but it's probably pretty close.
Jason Scheer, Wildcat Authorities, we can see his byline. And, man, this is going to be a fun one tonight. I certainly hope it is. Actually, I hope it's a fun one. I hope it's closely contested. I like these ones that come down to the wire. BYU has liked to do the well, we'll come back late, and we'll make a game out of it at the very end of a lot of these games. And obviously came up short against Arizona, but it's going to be a very, very tough environment in Tucson this evening. Jason, thanks for your help, man. We'll talk to you again.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
There you go. Jason Scheer.
He's right on about that game this weekend maybe being for the conference title, because if you look at the schedule, whoever wins that game, looking at the schedule, is probably going to win the conference. Arizona has at Baylor, home against Kansas, home against Iowa State, and at Colorado. Now, Kansas and Iowa State are tough, but those are at home. So you could see Arizona, if they win tonight and they win at Houston, banged up, they would probably have no problem winning those last 4 games.
Is Koa Pete's situation, is he
lower leg injury? Don't know how long he's going to be out. Yeah.
The bottom half of the body injury.
That's as specific as we're going to get.
Seinfeld, remember when he did that? He goes, that's all we know about the human body. We have the head, we have this open mouth that goes down a tube that leads to this circle area. That's how they should start doing the injury reports.
He's got an injured circle area?
His circle area is absolutely killing him. Yeah, we'll see how this one goes. I'm like crossing my fingers that
I want a good game. Yeah, absolutely.
What I feel like is going to happen is that BYU, like I think I said this to you yesterday, I think they're going to come out like just with this emotional fire because of their emotional leader being gone. So compensating, maybe a little overcompensating for that, but also kind of a little bit of a, hey, let's win one for the Gipper here type of a situation.
They are getting Arizona banged up. As he mentioned, Koa Pete and another player off the bench are banged up. It could be a good time if you have to go to the McHale Center to play him, to get him now.
Yeah.
And you mentioned some of that might be going on with BYU, but how many more games can Rob Wright score 30-plus? How many more double teams is AJ going to have to fit? You know what I mean? Like, at some point, somebody else on that roster has to say, you know what, this is an opportunity. I'm going to step up. I can do this. I can get it done. And if that doesn't happen, it's just a numbers game.
Yeah.
It's 2-on-5. You can't win in this league 2-on-5.
Kebaketa has to have a monster game.
His hand's hurting.
I know.
He's injured. You're right. He is how important was he last year?
Yeah.
And they miss a guy on the perimeter. We talked to JT, Jonathan Tavernari earlier in the week. Trevin Nell and Mawat Mag were huge. They would sit there in the corner and knock down threes.
Even Dawson Baker, right?
So much space.
Yeah.
Where's that space now? You don't have that gravity anymore. There's not that sniper out. Who's your sniper on this team? They don't have it.
What's interesting is he brought up, he's like, I don't anticipate A.J. DeMonsa having a worse shooting night. He didn't have a great shooting night against Arizona in Provo.
Oh, no.
And I was like, actually,
him and Rob were like 12 of 40, right?
Yeah, and that was tough.
9 of 40?
But he's had a couple of games where he struggled like that, where
Sure.
it's been the volume shooter thing, right?
Yeah.
And, in a circumstance like this, I think that you might try to overdo it and start firing it up even more. And if you're not hot.
And you're pressing.
And you don't go for 42 tonight.
Right.
Then, and we've seen BYU, we've seen A.J. DeMonsa score a bunch of points and Rob Wright score a bunch of points and even Richie Saunders score a bunch of points in that same game, and then they lose. They give up 80 points a game. Arizona gives up 67 points a game. And in conference play, I bet, BYU's numbers even,
right now, BYU's defense is one of the worst defenses in the country.
It feels like 7 games in a row they've given up 90 points or something.
They are
what it feels like.
struggling defensively. And Kebaketa not being 100% has played a big role in that. And now Richie out, I don't know, man. It would be a great story if they're able to overcome this. It's just so hard to picture it because Richie was such a great player, and they were already shorthanded.
Yep. Let's take a break. When we return, let's get to some NFL news. Yeah, and there's a couple of things inside of this NFL news. Kind of interesting stuff, including I told you it was going to happen. The Seahawks are for sale. Should we get some dollars together? The three of us, minority ownership.
Let's round up some investors.
I bet I could get $50,000 in a loan from the old credit union down the street.
I bet you could get a downline going down to Utah County.
Get a downline.
That's still a thing, right?
Hey, if I sell enough pest control this summer, I will.
Anything is possible.
I could get myself an NFL franchise. All right. We'll come back. We'll talk about that and much more. Stay here, 97.5 KSL Sports Zone.
All the latest news and notes from the league and the locals in the NFL. JJ and Alex bring you the NFL Blitz on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
NFL Blitz today brought to you by the good folks at U of U Health. At University of Utah Health, hope is in our DNA. Learn more at uofuhealth.org. That's uofuhealth.org. University of Utah Health, for you, for life. So, right off the bat, Paul Allen's estate has begun the steps that are necessary to convey their franchise into the hands of a billionaire. How do you do that? You come up with between, as the estimates have put it, between $7 and $9 billion is likely going to be the sale price for the Seahawks. Nice time to sell them after they just won the Super Bowl. And all signs point to, when you have this young of a team, you might miss a couple dudes, but when you weren't expected to be this good this fast under Mike McDonald, like, that's, like, it's gravy now from here on out. So if you're a new franchise owner in the Seahawks and you go, let's keep this thing rolling, but selling the Seahawks and seeing what that number is going to be fascinating, because it will set the next new crazy high as well. It would be the most money ever paid for an American franchise in the history of sport. And the next one will be the most highest, and the next one will be the highest, and the next one will be the highest when we're talking about the NFL. Because if any of these teams go up for sale, and you know, the big ones, I mean, the Commanders are, just went for $6.05 billion, 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And they're considered one of the most valuable franchises. If you look at all the lists, it's always funny to see Washington pretty far up there. It's a super valuable franchise. And if you have the Seahawks going for $8 billion, then I think you're going to see a team like the Cowboys. They could probably ask between 15 and 17. I mean, I'm not even kidding. That's what we're talking about on some of these things, but I don't know.
Yeah, it's crazy to say the Commanders going for $6.05 billion in 2023 was probably a deal.
Everyone, if you buy one, that's why everybody gets in on this, because as soon as you buy it, it's immediately worth 20% more.
It's a great investment.
Yeah. Hey, if you have any, you can come to us for more financial tips, by the way.
Hey, stop contributing to your 401k match. Just go buy a professional sports franchise.
Hey, honey. Take all the money out of the Bitcoin.
Roth IRAs for fools. Go buy a pro franchise.
All you have to do is just put a minority ownership group together.
Yeah.
Come on.
Get a few of your buddies.
It would be so dang cool to own a part of a team. But yeah, you talk about the rich getting richer thing. This billionaires can buy a team and immediately have it be worth the very next day. It's the opposite of driving a new car off of the lot. As soon as you touch it, it's down 20,000. You touch an NFL franchise, it's up $1 billion the next day.
How much did you say the Seahawks might be going for?
They said so between $7 and $9 billion. That's what they said.
So the Lakers went for $10 billion.
Oh, so that was
last year.
This is the highest NFL team franchise ever.
It would be.
Yeah,
and that's crazy.
But
again, how often does an NFL team come for sale? I mean, the Commanders were the latest, and that was kind of forced because of their turd owner.
Turd owner, is that a foreign name?
Yeah.
I'm Mike Turdoner. Where's that out of? Is that Austrian?
That's German.
Their turd owner. It makes it also sound like you donated a turd.
Please. That's
donate today.
That's
donate
as dirty
today.
as I could go on the radio.
I love it. That's good.
He was much worse than a turd.
We played rat's butt a couple of times from Mick Cronin.
Yeah, it's been one of those days on the show today. Made an Epstein joke.
Be a turd donor today.
At least I didn't do the Ball State, Sac State joke today.
Come on. We made it one
yesterday.
day. Gosh, Annapolis, we had a goal. Had a goal.
I'm keeping a streak alive.
No, that's not the kind of streak we want.
That's what I call maction.
I hate both of you. I hate this. I hate me for laughing at it, okay?
Sorry, it's the NFL
It's like
Blitz.
my kids,
what am I doing?
At some point, my kids just, it's universal. They make the fart jokes, and I'm like, hey, knock it off.
And then you chuckle a little bit inside.
Hilarious. Yeah, Seahawks going to be up for sale. Anyway, the 49ers have been named one of the teams that are going to go to Mexico for the Mexico City 2026 game.
Get your tickets now, 49ers fans.
Was it Estadio Azteca that they had the turf problems where they shut it down for the Cowboys? And
yeah,
I think it was Cowboys 49ers.
Was it in Mexico? Was it that stadium or was it in Monterrey? I can't remember.
Either way, it was like, hey, there's natural turf, and then there's our players might. I mean, it was
Estadio Azteca.
It was Estadio Azteca. And also, I think the 49ers, or no, it was the Cardinals. It was the Cardinals. I only remember this because their O-line coach went down there. They didn't even have a game, and he got busted for something involving women, and he was fired as soon as he got back to the States. So don't quote me on it, but it was something having to do with women down there in Mexico. And they didn't even play. So there you go. By the way, do you remember Northern Illinois head coach Thomas Hammock?
Yeah. He had a great quote last year.
Famously, what was it?
Remember they upset Notre Dame, too?
Yeah, he upset. That's what you're going to remember. He said you can Google me. People were Googling me back in the 90s. Is that, I was saying that back in the 90s. Isn't that what he said? Was he the guy? But he, of course, is known for being the one who got choked up after they beat Notre Dame at Notre Dame 2 years ago. Looks like he doesn't want to be in the Mountain West. So he's going to say happy trails, might join that Seahawks staff. Yeah, he's going to join the Seahawks staff in the NFL.
The running backs coach?
Good move.
Go coach for the Super Bowl champs. You don't have to deal with the headache that is college football coaching these days.
Hey, there you go. Hey, do what some of these schools have done, man. Hey, Mick Cronin. Join the Pac-12. Are they going to have Pac-12 after dark? Is Yogi Roth still a part of this?
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, Yogi's still.
I want it. I want all this.
Doing great work.
Eli Manning says he's not bugged by not making the Hall of Fame. Obviously, a quote from somebody who's very disappointed in not making the Hall of Fame. Wouldn't you say that? Yeah, I'm cool. I don't even care, dude.
That's all right. Everything's okay.
I don't even care, dude. She wasn't even that good looking.
No, that's all right.
I love her.
Maybe someday, I don't know. I can be patient. I'll wait.
Oh, man, you're too good for that. Eli, you're better than the Hall of Fame. I know, dude. Right?
I'm a Manning.
I think you should get in. I do. You're one of these guys that's like, I don't know, man. You had a lot of numbers, and you were.
His stats aren't great. His stats
and I will
aren't
say,
Hall of Fame caliber.
You can't hang your hat too much on Super Bowl MVP when you look at the list. Because it's not like you're going to go, well, Kenneth Walker the third, look at him. Future Hall of Famer, man, because he's already on his way with that Super Bowl MVP. Come on. By the way, Patrick Mahomes, in a sneaky way, I think for the third time in his career at Kansas City, another contract restructuring for the
cheating.
Man.
The Chiefs are cheating.
Let me see here. So his salary is going to be part of a signing bonus. That's how they do it. You roll it into another signing bonus. He just gets these bulk balloon payments from his team every few years. It's like a bad loan. You're all, hey, that balloon payment is due, by the way. And they're like, oh, shoot. Can we renegotiate here? We'll give you more. So do you remember when he first signed and it was like $400 million in 10 years?
Yeah.
And $40 million is a freaking steal for
oh, no. He's been a bargain for the Chiefs.
For a long time.
Isn't that crazy? Now they're restructuring him?
And the restructuring isn't that he's necessarily – it's that he's getting more money sooner, which is how they do it. They get that money off the books by just handing it out as a signing bonus earlier. So there you go.
Back to Eli Manning real quick.
Oh, here come the arguments.
No, actually, this is actually a argument in his favor. So how many quarterbacks in NFL history have won more than one Super Bowl and are not in the Pro Football Hall of Fame?
Is it 0?
There are 3.
Okay, now this is going to be tough. What era are we talking?
It's all over the map.
Is one
70s, 80s,
70s,
and Eli Manning. 70s/80s, I should say.
Who was the Raiders?
You got it. You're there.
Kenny no.
Jim Plunkett.
Oh, Plunkett. Oh my gosh.
Jim Plunkett won 2 Super Bowls for the Oakland/Los Angeles Raiders. Who knows where they were then?
All right.
And Eli Manning won 2 Super Bowls.
Yep.
The other 2-time Super Bowl winner as a quarterback, although not a starter in the second one, is Jim McMahon.
Mac Mahone.
Yeah. That's it. That's the list. So
Bears in '85, and then he was with the Packers when he was a backup to Favre, right?
So, there's 3 guys that are not in the Hall of Fame that have won 2 Super Bowls, and only 2 that started in both Super Bowls.
Did you say there were another one besides Jim McMahon too?
It's Jim Plunkett, Eli Manning, Jim McMahon.
Those are the 3.
Those are the 3 quarterbacks with multiple Super Bowl rings that are not in the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
But
Isn't that crazy?
But you wouldn't argue that Jim McMahon should be in the Hall of Fame. I don't think.
No, the injuries kept
too short of a
kept
career,
that from happening.
right?
But
and Jim Plunkett, I think also he's probably already missed out too. I mean,
yeah,
I don't know.
Maybe eventually he gets into the Veterans Committee or however that works. I think Jim Plunkett should be in. That's why everybody knows who Jim Plunkett is.
We can decidedly say that Eli Manning is the best of all 3 of those quarterbacks.
I think you can argue that Plunkett was better.
Maybe. Anyway, in an era where quarterbacks are throwing for 60,000 yards, like as a normal career arc,
yeah,
as long as they stay in for a couple of, 13, 14 years, then there you go. Okay, we'll take a break. We'll come back. We've got our best and worst next, so don't want to miss any of it. Stay here, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
Wrapping up the hour with our picks for the best and worst moments on today's show. As JJ and Alex want to hear your best and worst of the day.
Welcome back, everybody. JJ and Alex, 97.5 KSL Sports Zone. Appreciate you being with us. Best and worst on the show. Hey, want to remind you, Scotty G and friends are going to be at Kenny J's Barbecue from noon to 3 coming up on Friday for the 60-60 ranking show. You don't want to miss it. Go through, see where some of these players here locally will end up, and we'll see at Kenny J's Barbecue located at and it's just right. It's at the District in South Jordan, right next to the Megaplex. You know where it is.
So good. I'm thinking about it right now.
Gross. Fantasizing about barbecue. How dare you?
What's wrong with that?
When we're all hungry. No, it's not gross. I'm saying
it's not gross.
It's dinner time right now. For you and I.
Trying to make me feel guilty for loving barbecue?
I wish I knew how to quit barbecue.
What's your deal?
Yeah, I just love that you said
you're a terrible person.
Show you my love for barbecue.
Yeah. Okay. I'm confessing to the entire ignorant region that's listening to the radio right now. I love Texas barbecue.
Well, go to Kenny J's in on Friday, bro. You'll be fine. All right, here's what we got. Best and worst. First of all, Doug Gottlieb, we brought him up yesterday. The former radio host, now turned mid-college basketball coach.
He literally coaches a mid-major.
I know, that's what I'm saying. I wasn't saying it mean.
I'm sure you weren't.
No.
I'm sure you were trying to be nice, just like you're nice to me about the barbecue.
Barbecue. Suspended, of course, for the one game for slapping the table and calling the referees bad names.
He used the F word.
That's not good. He knows you can't. He knows how to not use that word. He worked in broadcasting for a long time. Okay, you know how to not use it. There's no dump button.
You say frick instead, coach.
Frick, fetch. I would have loved if he would have said fetch.
You can't curse on TV, coach.
He says fetch. automatic job offer from one of the schools here locally in Utah
Oh, for sure.
to coach.
Next head coach at Utah Tech.
Oh, the worst was, I know we love the Olympics. Owners are very, 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 of NHL teams are very nervous. You saw one of the LA Kings go down playing for Switzerland already, gone for the rest of the year. Sidney Crosby, injured at the Olympics, is going to get imaging. And
Not Sid the Kid.
we'll see how one of the best players in hockey history will end up after these Olympics. And by the way, this is a guy who historically, he got the golden goal against the Americans in the last Olympics or the one before that. Either way,
I've erased that from my memory.
Sidney Crosby's been a thorn in Team USA's
Oh, for
hockey
sure.
dreams for a long time, and it'd be a bummer if he's out. You know who's going to cry about it? Cole Bagley, local Penguins fan.
Yeah.
He's given up all that, okay, to cover the Mammoth.
He's all Mammoth now.
Yep. Also, yeah, we talked about the JT Toppin injury and how bad that is.
Brutal.
And the Red Raiders, like, they've beaten so many amazing teams, and then they've had these losses. Then they lose to Arizona State, man.
What's the bigger loss, BYU losing Richie or Texas Tech losing JT Toppin?
That's a great question. I think Toppin's a better player.
We talked to Jason Scheer earlier. He's probably going to be the Big 12 Player of the Year in a conference full of studs.
I think that Richie's impact is actually bigger, though, because of how
much he meant
little
to his
depth
team's chances,
and how little depth BYU has. So, BYU tonight against Arizona. We'll talk about that one, of course, tomorrow. We'll get you that one. And, we got more around the corner, so don't miss it. Stay here. 97.5 EKSL Sports Zone.